office in Shanghai. We have southern part of China here, covered by our. Again, complex market, right? They have 4 first-tier cities, as you know, as we know, Beijing, Shanghai, Guangzhou, and Shenzhen. There are 15 new first-tier cities. Means that they are between the second tier and the first tier, right? So, familiar name like Chengdu, Hangzhou, where Alibaba is, Wuhan, Tianjin, Nanjing, Chongqing. Okay, and then they have also 30 second-tier cities, 70 third-tier cities, 90 fourth-tier cities, and 129 fifth-tier cities. This is based on a ranking released by CBN Weekly Magazine in 2017. So, in total here, there are about 338 cities. And there are actually more than 600 cities in China. So, they just discovered only 338 cities. So, huge opportunity in the green market of China, right? So now we come to halal market in China. In terms of Muslim population, it's about 1.5% of China total population, accounting for over 21 million people. That is based on the official figure issued by the State Administration for Religious Affairs of People's Republic of China. Panjang. Okay. But this is official figure. Unofficial figure is actually more than 50 million. Okay, I mean from my interaction with the local Muslim leaders. So they are telling me there are more than 50 million people of Muslim, because in China they don't declare that they are Muslim. There is no any official identification say that I am a Muslim. Okay, so there are many Muslim who are Muslim, but we can't see them that they are Muslim. Okay, so of course, as you can see here, the green, the dark green here, where you have more than 50%. And then it goes to 30 to 40%, 10 to 20%. So from this map, what I want to show is that the Muslim population not only is scattered in this northwestern part of China, but it's actually scattered throughout the country. So everywhere in China you can find Muslim. So that's why actually nowadays is quite convenient to travel to China, because you can find Muslim restaurants in almost every city, no matter how small it is. Inshallah, you can find one, right? So, and then one interesting part about Muslim population in China, about 41% are below 19 years old. This is research done by them. Okay, so means that it's a young population for Muslim people. Okay, and this young population, well, in 5 years' time, they will start to spend more money. They will start to work. They will be finished from their universities. Okay, so they have the purchasing power. Okay, so still it is a good indicator for us to come. And of course, these are the top 10 provinces of Muslim population in China. We have Xinjiang, Ningxia, Gansu, Qinghai, Yunnan, Henan, Hebei, Shandong, and Anhui. Wow. It takes me overnight to get the right pronunciation. Please don't ask me again, it's going to be different pronunciation. So here, I mean, the ladies from Uyghur. So for the men, no, look for Xinjiang. Right, so next, okay, halal market in China, overview. According to Euromonitor, okay, by 2020, all right, the halal food sector in China means that the domestic market is about 19.4 billion US dollar, okay, and increased by 6.4%. So we are, forecasting that this figure will keep on continue for the next, 30, 35 years, because China will still be vibrant for the next 35 years, okay. And then demand for halal food is not just from the Muslim population, but also from non-Muslim as well. Okay, why? Because halal foods are considered to be healthy and hygienic, particularly after so many food scandal or food safety scandal in China. As you all aware, you have read, okay, it started with melamine milk a decade ago, more than a decade ago. Then they have this fake rice, they have fake eggs, they have fake meat, and also fake people. So be careful when you come to China. Be careful. Right, and then okay, and the local player, I mean, I just take one example of local player, Inner Mongolia Ely Industrial Group Company Limited, which they produce a portfolio of halal foods such as milk formula, powder milk, drinking milk, yogurt, and ice cream. Their revenue in 2016 reached 43 billion RMB, or about 26 billion ringgit, just from one single company. And there are many companies who are at about their size. Okay, this is the local industry in China. And then, how to go to China? Okay, of course, there are two ways. Okay, either offline, the conventional way, or the online market. Okay, so it is about your market strategy. Okay, online market is cheaper to access, but you cannot sustain, right? Offline market is slightly expensive to access, but you can sustain for long term. So if it's for short-term strategy, or for example, if you want to go to China, first you can start with online market. After you create awareness and you can see, good response, okay, and feedbacks from the market, then only you start to look for the right partners to come in an offline market, okay. And then one big tips: your offline market price and your online market price should not be any different, right? Should be about the same. Okay, why? Because if your online market is cheaper than your offline market, then your offline, your distributor, potential distributor, or potential importer may not be interested because they think that you have spoiled the market. That's it, done. Okay, and if your offline market is cheaper than your online market, then the consumer of online market will start to make complaint to Alibaba, to Qingdong, saying that how come offline is cheaper than their online? It's supposed to be online to be cheaper than the offline. All right. So try to maintain, about the same price, though it will go in a different market. Okay. So next, right? I would like to go further with the offline market first. Again, another complex market. It's not like a simple market. Okay. Although because of its size, it's huge country. So from importer, okay, then your product will go to the national distributor. All right. From the national distributor, we go to the regional distributor. Normally like north, east, west, south. Okay. And from this regional distributor, actually they will go to the cities distributor, and then only it will reach to retailer. Then last will reach the consumer. So the implication. So when you want to sell offline, you must make sure that you provide sufficient room for margin, right? So how do we define sufficient room for margin? Okay, 75%. Again, another tip: 75% of your retail price is the room for margin to be given between this tier. 75%. So if you want to sell your product for 40 kwai, 30 kwai, you have to give it to them so that they can distribute between this tier. Okay, and also bear in mind the transportation cost in China is also expensive. The A&P cost is also expensive. So that's why they need this the 75% from you, right? So you have to sell only 10 renminbi CIF at port, and then they will be interested to talk to you further. Or else they think that, oops, no, I think we better be friends than we do business. All right. Okay. So next, online market. Why online market in China? Because online retailing market is expected to grow from 17% of total retail sales to 25% by 2020. Not by me, but by PwC. They have done the research. Okay, so they have done the figures. So they have the figures. So this is their forecast. And it is online. It's a fast-growing market. I would like to share the example of Double 11 or Single Day Shopping Festival in 2017, which has recorded a total sales of 25.3 billion within 24 hours. 24 jam ya. Within a day, they can have about 100 billion ringgit Malaysia, increased by 43.5%. And also, Alipay processed 1.48 billion of total payment transaction. That is by Alipay. Alibaba Cloud processed 325,000 orders per second at peak. And China Network, their distribution channel owned by Alibaba Group, processed 812 million total delivery orders. I think at least a month or month plus after the single day, they still keep on, delivering their goods. Okay, that order during the Double 11 or 11/11 means every year, every 11th November, they will have this shopping festival. And then on the second point, younger consumer, because more than 100 million consumers in China are men and women that age from 23 to 36 years old, and they are demanding for healthy, quality, and assured products quoted by PCG. Okay, so that's why this age group, men or women, they will spend more time with phone and also their gadgets, and that's why they will keep on buying from online. Normally, if it's winter season, cold season, it will be peak season because they don't prefer to go out, so they will start to to make order through online, right? And then it is also cost effective because first you can eliminate the multi-layer market which I have mentioned earlier, and also it is easier to access to market through online. Okay, you just deal with we call it Taobao partner, TP, and this Taobao partner will help you to create your page on Tmall or on JD.com, then you can start to sell. They will help you to sell. Okay. Next. Okay. So for online market, of course, there are two types: the ordinary trade and the cross-border. The ordinary trade means that your product is in China already, so it usually takes 1 to 3 days. Means that your product has gone through all the registration with the CIQ, with the custom, all done. So it is in warehouse, either in Shanghai or Guangzhou. Then it takes only 1 to 3 days to get the product to the consumer. Or the cross-border, which we are promoting now. In fact, Matrade, through e-trade program that we have, we are promoting the cross-border e-commerce program, where your product is in Malaysia, and it usually takes between 7 to 9 days at the moment, right? But in the near future, we hope we can meet up the current trend in China, which is within 1 to 3 days. So this is where we have launched the DFTZ program, Digital Free Trade Zone, where we want to shorten the period for products from Malaysia to reach consumer in China. Okay. Next, opportunities in China halal market. Of course, the revenue of F&B segment in China was amounted to $15 billion in 2017 and is estimated to reach $19 billion in 2018. So it is the most revenue generating F&B market in the world, bigger than US, right? And F&B in China was projected to hit a market volume of 35 billion USD by 2022. So distinguished guests, these are the market that we should look at in the next 5 years' time. Okay, so as you can see here, the trend of increase from 2016 to 2020. Okay, and then of course, China total importation of F&B as well as agricultural product has reached $110 billion in 2017, increased by 13%. And then the accumulated volume of China importation for F&B is projected to be over 600 billion in the next 5 years. 600 billion. Okay, and consumer in tier 1 city, which we have mentioned earlier, Shanghai, Shenzhen, Beijing, Guangzhou, they showed a high level of demand for foreign F&B products, while consumer that in a less saturated tier 2 and tier 3 markets also have shown their demand for the foreign F&B products. Okay, so these are the figures on the importation of F&B products by China from the world. Okay, so and then another opportunity is on the cosmetic and personal care, right? So Just now we talk about F&B. Now I would like also to introduce the opportunity for the non-F&B product. So we are looking at the cosmetic and personal care, which is expected to reach 36 billion in 2017, and was predicted to hit 39 billion in 2018. All right, so now we are talking about the opportunity of halal cosmetic, okay, to be part of this figure in the near future. The market largest segment still skincare. Okay, they still prefer the whitening product, even though they are white. So I also don't understand. I did ask them, hey, you are white already, why do you need whitening? So I'm not so sure why they still prefer to buy skincare. Right. So in other words, that they just look at a very specific usage of skincare. All right. And then, but nevertheless, though it's a big figure, 36.3 billion, okay, in 2017, in terms of per capita, they just spend about $26.2, okay. Means that each person of 1.39 billion people, they just spend about this $26.2 or 166 billion RMB, 166 ringgit, RMB, okay. So they will spend more. They will spend more. They will spend 200 or 250 in the next 2 or 3 years. Okay, so it means a huge potential ahead in the future for the cosmetic product, in particular for halal cosmetic and personal care product. Okay, so again, China is projected to become the largest market for personal care and cosmetic products globally, right? And it is driven by the rise in disposable incomes and the growing awareness and inclination of Chinese consumer towards value-added beauty and personal care with specific functionalities, which I have mentioned earlier. Okay, and also in China, actually the main players of cosmetics and toiletries are the foreign company, such as P&G, L'Oreal, and Shiseido. It's not the local product. So means that the people don't trust their product. They do prefer. They trust more foreign products. So this is where that we have advantage to come to China. Even I myself, I will try to ask Jamin to buy for me from Malaysia. Right. Okay. In terms of promotion, okay. In terms of promotion, if your product's not yet in the market, you want to come to the market, okay, I would suggest you to participate in Shanghai Sale, okay, which is next month, 16th to 18th May, because Shanghai Sale and FHC China, this is for the F&B segment. Okay, these two platforms are good platform, okay, because they will gather all the importer and distributor throughout the countries to come to these two events. All right, and when your product is in China, to expand the market, I am suggesting you to consider to participate in the China Foods and Drinks Fair, okay, which normally in March, and it normally organized in Chengdu, Sichuan. All right, so but besides that, okay, there are other halal related trade fair like Xi'an International Halal Food and Trade Expo, China Qinghai International Halal Food and Products Fair, okay, in Xining, Qinghai, and of course for Madrid, our focus this year will be the China ASEAN Expo, China Car Expo in Nanning, Guangxi, and also China International Import Expo in Shanghai. So this is my next assignment after today briefing. Okay, so I think that's all right for me. In conclusion, it is not too late to come to China. Okay, trust me, you are not too late. You are at the right time to come to China. All right, and we are here. My senior, Madam Razida in Beijing, this guy, as you know, and then my colleague Guangzhou, Zaima, and also my colleague in Chengdu, Mr. Chong. We are here for you, to help you to leverage the opportunity that I've mentioned in China. With that, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
I was about to ask them to shut down the mic. Okay, anyway, very good. I think that's an overview of China. Whether that's appetizing for you, we'll look at it after this. And after this, during the Q&A, I think Tuan Syed can also answer some of the numbers, some of the things that you may want to clarify or you want to ask. Okay, now we are going to go to the next market with 275 here, million population, one of the highest number of Muslim population, and I think it's a huge market, a huge potential, but of course challenges are there as well, right? So I'm now passing the no, you have your own mic, right? To Mr. Naim, please.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good afternoon. Thank you Tuan Haji Amin for the introduction. Bapak-bapak, ibu-ibu, ladies and gentlemen, I feel very pleased to be here today to share about halal opportunities in Indonesia. I hope you can bear with me in the next 15 minutes so that you could understand better about the halal market in Indonesia. And then, of course, without further ado, let me go through my presentation. So these are a few segments of my presentation. The first part, I will touch on the market overview, whereby I will be giving you about what sort of characteristics that Indonesia has, and what are the key authorities that regulate and manage the industry, the halal industry, what sort of trends that the consumers or Indonesian consumers have at the moment. How do they perceive halal vis-a-vis other countries, and maybe in particular how do they perceive Malaysian halal products that are coming into Indonesian market. And then I will also touch on the mandatory halal law that Indonesia has announced, and then they are going to implement it by 2019, next year. And then the next part of my presentation, I will share with you some great statistics on our current halal export performance to Indonesia, just to give you some excitement that why you have to consider entering Indonesian market. And then the next part of my presentation, I will share with you the current scenario. If you wish to export your products to Indonesia, what you need to do, what sort of regulation that you have to fulfill, and then what sort of challenges that you would face or you would encounter to bring in your products into Indonesia market. And last but not least, I will share with you some action plans, and then of course I will conclude my presentation. Market overview. Indonesia is the largest Muslim majority nation. It has now close to 270 million. To be exact, Indonesia has 267 million population. It is the fourth most populous nations in the world at the moment. So Muslim population represents close to 90% of the total population. It is at 88% of the total population. There is already over 220 million people, Muslim people. So it has a very big population, Muslim population. And then that population represents 13% of the world's Muslim population. Indonesian population also, majority of them are young population, because around 60% of the total population are young people. If you could understand the demographics, then of course your products have to cater for the population. So if Indonesia has a very big young population, then your products have to suit younger generation preferences and the liking, and then maybe what do they need from other parts of the world. So you have to produce products that suits the majority of the population, so that you are able to sell your products. Then of course F&B is the largest component, and then slightly over 1/3 of the consumer expenditure is spent for F&B, for food and beverage. So if you look at the data that we have, basically the food and beverage turnover in 2019 is already stood at 147 billion US dollar. That is the F&B sales done in 2016. Last year alone, the figure went up to 190 billion US dollar. So F&B sales in Indonesia is big. So you can see it is a big potential that you can tap and consider entering the market. And then, what are the provinces that have big Muslim population? Java definitely is the biggest. Starts with West Java, East Java, Central Java, Banten, and then of course North Sumatra. So these 5 provinces has the biggest Muslim density. So a lot of Muslims are residing in these provinces. So if you target these provinces, then you know that they definitely are looking at halal products. They need halal products. So they have concern about halal products, so that you could tailor your products to suit what they need. And then if you look at the data for F&B sales during festivities, like for example during Eid al-Fitr alone, is already huge. You know, you can see in my slide, the F&B sales during Eid al-Fitr is already close to 11 billion US dollar. So if you know, you understand this characteristic, so you may target to do promotion, to export bigger volume of your products to Indonesia during or targeting at festivities, Muslim festivities like this. And then Indonesia basically has the same school of thoughts as Malaysia. It follows or it practices Shafi'i school of thought. So basically we have this similarity with Indonesia. So in terms of halal, the way they perceive halal basically is not much different than Malaysians perceive halal. And Indonesia, talking about Indonesian halal market, basically it covers a wide scope of sectors. So it doesn't only cover products, it does also cover services. So Indonesian also consume not only halal products, but they also would like to utilize halal services or Sharia compliant services. Then talking about key bodies that regulate halal sector, there are a few. There are the Ministry of Religious Affairs. There is a new halal body, they call it Halal Product Assurance Organizing Agency. And then there is Majelis Ulama Indonesia. There is LIPOMUI, this is another organization under Majelis Ulama Indonesia. And last but not least, there is National Agency for Food and Drug Control, or BPOM. Talking about halal trends and consumer acceptance, basically, as I said earlier, Indonesians look at halal in very wide scope. They understand that there are halal products as well as there are halal services. So Glyco is a Japanese brand, a Japanese product. You can see Glyco have obtained halal certification from Majelis Ulama Indonesia, and then they have obtained halal certification from MUI for all of their products. So then they put in their website that all their products are halal certified. So they are really promoting halal, and then they are from Japan basically. And then Zoya is fashion. They involved in fashion, and then they are promoting Muslim fashion or Muslimah wear. So they make their fashion halal certified. So they carry Majelis Ulama Indonesia halal logo. And then Wardah, I think maybe some of you, especially ladies, they know about Wardah. Wardah is a famous brand for cosmetics from Indonesia or in Indonesia. So Wardah is basically the first halal cosmetic product in Indonesia. And then Burger King, they also use halal to promote their products. So if you enter Burger King restaurants in Indonesia, you can see that they really printed this halal logo of MUI on their leaflets, and then they are promoting that their products are halal certified. And then last but not least, for services, Indonesia is really promoting halal tourism. So they want to grow this sector. So the consumers are also receptive to halal tourism, which is one of the services that Indonesia is currently promoting. Halal law, Indonesia has introduced a mandatory halal law. It's going to be enforced in 2019. So currently, until today, the halal law is not mandatory. It is on voluntary basis. So whoever that would like to promote their products and would like to utilize halal to be able to market their products in Indonesia, so basically they need not yet get or obtain halal certification in Indonesia. But with this law, later on, to be enforced in 2019, it is all mandatory. So if you wish to put your products as halal product and carry halal logo, so it is required for you to get halal certification from the relevant bodies that issues halal certification or does halal certification. So they have this concern because Indonesia is very big. The current halal examination bodies like Majelis Ulama Indonesia, they don't have the capacity to certify every establishment for halal products. So if you look at F&B companies in Indonesia, they have 1.2 million F&B companies in Indonesia. And then, unfortunately, MUI could just certify up to 2016 only 300,000 establishments or companies. So they still have a long way to go. Then we're not sure by the time this mandatory halal law is implemented, whether they are able to complete the task to certify all the halal establishments. Halal export performance, basically Indonesia is the 6th largest export destination for Malaysian halal products. So we exported in 2016 around close to 2 billion US dollar, 2 billion ringgit. And then this year and last year, 2017, we exported around 2.2 billion ringgit of halal products to Indonesia. And within ASEAN, Indonesia is the second largest export destination for halal products, representing around 16% of the total export. And of course, food and beverage products is the largest, represents around 70% of the halal products composition. Let me skip this. How about the current scenario of halal exporting in Indonesia? Basically, this is the illustration of halal exporting to Indonesia. This is what who you are as a Malaysian exporter. Definitely you are dealing with Indonesian importer who are responsible to import your products or bringing your product into Indonesia. But you can see, being a halal exporter for food and beverage products, cosmetics, and even pharmaceuticals, when you want to export to Indonesia, basically, if you want to carry on using the halal proposition for your products, then you have to get your Indonesian importer to register your product and then get it certified by the relevant body. So there are two processes that your Indonesian importer has to do. The first part, they have to register the product with Badan POM, with the National Agency for Food and Drug Control. And then if they want to carry on using the halal logo or halal label, then they have to do another certification with Badan Penyelaras Jaminan Produk Halal, which is also with MUI. MUI is involved in that because they have a new body. So they have to do these two if they want to carry on using halal products to promote their products in Indonesia. If they want to stick to only normal products, let's say not so-called non-halal, but it's ordinary products without carrying a halal logo, then they can stop short with registration with Badan POM. All right. What sort of action plans that you need to do? Of course, my advice is please work closely with your importer. So why? Because your importer is responsible to help you bring in the goods or your goods or your halal products into the market. So Indonesia is a very big consumer market. So being a huge market and whatnot, it is the largest archipelago consisting of more than 17,000 islands. Definitely logistic would be a challenge. Yeah? So if you work with the right importer who could help you regulate and manage the market, and then they also will be responsible to work or deal with several distributors to distribute your products in the market, then that is a workable action plan that you need to do. Yeah? Next, I would advise you to register your trademark, your brand. Indonesia is the 4th most populous country in the world. So big markets like Indonesia would require you to register your trademark. China is one of them. Indonesia is another. So you can use your current brand, whatever trademark that you have here. But if you wish to register your current trademark that you are using for Malaysian market or even for other markets, for Indonesia, you can do so. Or you can start fresh by having a new brand or new trademark only for Indonesian market. So you have to differentiate your products. You have to work on some market similarities. You know, Indonesians, I would say generally are like Malaysians. You know, their culture-wise, their traditions, you know, their languages. So we could understand what they speak. Even we could read whatever on the product labeling. So basically, you work on the similarities that we have with Indonesian. So to differentiate your products. So you have to understand that Indonesian is a very big consumer market. So when you differentiate your products, it has to tailor to consumers. Consumers, so they would buy at convenience, they would buy at retail markets, they would buy in a small portion, that suits their level of purchasing power. So you have to do that to differentiate your products. Participate in relevant trade exhibitions. If talking about food and beverage, you can participate in Sayo Interfood. It is organized annually, normally in September every year. You can also participate in Food and Hotel Indonesia. It is a biannual trade exhibition, normally in April or May. So these two are big exhibitions for food and beverage products. And then another advice that I would like you to do is please undertake your own business visits. This is very effective. From our experience, we have noticed that a lot of Malaysian companies, they make regular visits to Indonesia. And then what we do, we advise them to undertake personalized business visit. What do we mean by personalized business visits? When they come over to Indonesia, we straight away help them to meet up with potential importers and buyers. And then normally our meeting will be conducted at the business premises of those buyers. So we advise the Malaysian companies to visit directly their potential buyers and importers. Engage with Islamic community organization. Indonesia, again, as a consumer market, their community is big, and then they are close-knit community. So there are huge Islamic community organizations like Muhammadiyah, Nahdlatul Ulama. When we say huge Islamic community, we are talking about million members. So Muhammadiyah, for example, has 60 million members. So you need to engage them to promote your products if you wish to bring in your products into Indonesia. So targeting at Islamic community organization will be an effective action plan that you can do. And last but not least, use social media. Indonesia is the most socially engaged community in the Asia Pacific. They have around 45 million users of Instagram. Then they have a total of 75 million active users of social media. So, of course, we are talking about e-commerce and then platform like online platforms, But I think engaging or using social media would be a good tool, a good avenue for you to promote your product into Indonesian market. These are some distribution channels that you can look at to bring in your products. Hero Supermarket, Transmart, Carrefour, Lotte Group, Lotte Mart. Yeah, okay. Hypermart is another big supermarket in Indonesia. Indomaret. If you have been to Indonesia, I think you are familiar with Indomaret. It's the largest mini-mart chain in Indonesia, followed by Alfamart. And the last one is 212 Mart. It is the newest mini market chain in Indonesia. It is owned by Koperasi Syariah 212. They now have 104 stores all over Indonesia, especially in the Greater Jakarta area. Right? I think that's all. Skip this, maybe for discussion. In conclusion, Indonesia again is a very big market that could offer you a lot of potential. And then I wish that being exporters, I want you to be more proactive, working closely with your importers, so that your importers are able to manage the market or help you expand your share in the market. And then please note of the regulation that is coming up, the mandatory halal law that is coming up next year. And then the challenges that you have to encounter, or you have to overcome when you want to enter Indonesian market. And then of course, don't forget to get assistance from us, from my office, anytime you would like to enter Indonesian market. I think that's all from me. I thank you for your kind attention. So I look forward to receiving questions from the floor, from all of you. Thank you very much.
Okay, there you go. Both of them, exceeded the time. We should, yeah?
You are a bad speaker.
Yeah. Or maybe we should penalize them. Yang bagi balik awal lagi. Okay, anyway, but that is indication how loaded they are with information that they're eager to share with you today. Alright? So make full use of this session, please. Yeah? In the room, I terlupa tadi kan, ataupun baru masuk tadi, is Puan Sri Matun, our Deputy CEO. Okay, so now you are nervous. You should be nervous. Okay, all right. Next is going to be Mr. Remy from Dubai. Yeah, so being in the Middle East, I think it's an obvious market, obvious market for halal. But is it so? All right. So we're going to hear what is the challenges, what is the market all about, and share perhaps what are some of the perhaps strategies to enter the market. Yeah. Okay. So without further ado, Mr. Remy.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. If I may ask, I don't want to use the washroom,
no problem.
so that I can release some of the, excess energy that I have right now. Yeah, please. Yeah, excuse me. Thank you. Thank you so much.
As long as you don't go out from the room.
Not a cup of coffee, right? Cannot, eh? Okay. Assalamualaikum. Very good afternoon. My name is Remy Yaakob. I am been handled. I would say West Asia market, at least within market for the last, I think, over a decade. So it is really my great pleasure to share with you what I have, what the insight that I can share with you during this session. Yeah, I'm not talk much because at the end of the day, from your faces, really I can see that you guys been loaded with so much of information. Shanghai, you talk about China, you talk about Indonesia, such a very big market. So at the end of the day, in terms of my region, you talk about the 6 GCC countries. We have small population, but at the end of the day, these are the countries that having high disposable income, high per capita, that kind of thing. This is a different, I would say, perspective that I have regard to the market. I'm not talking. I don't have much slide, but exactly, I just wanted you to have a little bit much more lighter. I would say insight that I have from the market. Okay. This is when you talk about UAE. Yeah. For many people, they always think that Dubai is a standalone country. Yeah, Dubai by itself, but actually it's a state. So they call the Emirates over there. Yeah, it's just a state within the Federation of United Arab Emirates. Yeah. You have, there are 7 Emirates. You have Abu Dhabi, Dubai, Sharjah, Ajman, Al Quwain, Ras Al Khaimah, and Fujairah. You are the 7th state within the Federation of United Arab Emirates. Yeah? The capital city is Abu Dhabi, and Dubai actually known as the business capital and hub in the region. Yeah? And the one that always well known, pretty much Dubai. Yeah? So they are bordering with Oman, Saudi Arabia. These are the 2, they have these land borders. Then the neighboring, you have Qatar, and on top you have Iran. Yeah? They have a population to around 10 million, yeah? More or less around 2.5, 2.6 Abu Dhabi and Dubai, then the rest much more smaller. Yeah? GDP composition, oil and gas pretty much around 30% of it, and non-oil 70%. Exchange rate pretty much fixed with the US dollar, due to the fact that because their main income coming from oil and gas, that's why they have this kind of fixed exchange rate regime. Okay, when you talk Gulf countries, you have these 6 countries: Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, Oman, and the UAE. These are 6 Gulf countries. And I would there Iran and Iraq. Why? Because of it is the countries under our coverage, except Saudi Arabia, because we have another market office that covers Saudi Arabia by itself. Yeah. You talk about the population, roughly around 54, 55 million of population, the total of the 6 GCC countries. Yeah, they are nominal GDP roughly around 1.39 trillion, and they are, I would say, in all producing countries, and high GDP per capita, fixed exchange rate regime similar like the UAE, and they have established since 2003 a GCC custom union. Yeah, whatever coming, they will charge input duty once only. Yeah, same like our after. Yeah. Okay, we talk GCC and MENA. When you talk about MENA, MENA is Middle East and North Africa. This is I'm using because of you talk about in terms of definition. Actually, uh, there is like a different set of inclusion of countries that we consider as Middle East, West Asia. So I'm using the World Bank definition. There are 21 countries under World Bank definitions that falls under MENA, Middle East and North Africa. There are 21 countries. And you talk about MENA area, you have 11.37 million square kilometers compared to GCC, only the 6 countries, 2.57. And you talk about the population, MENA around 437 million and GCC only 54. Yeah, but when you talk, although they are small, they have the highest GDP per capita. Yeah, where you can see that, for example, like Qatar actually have the highest, over 127,000 US dollars for GDP per capita PPP in 2016. Yeah, the lowest for these countries, roughly around 47,000, are actually Bahrain and Oman. Yeah, even still higher as compared to the Middle East and North Africa GDP per capita. Yes. When you talk about the UAE, you talk about Dubai, it is really, really a vibrant market. Yeah. I think many of you have been to Dubai. How many of you have been to Dubai? Okay, not that many actually. So, or another thing is that how many of you listen anything about Dubai? Listen, yes, eh? What, sir? What have you? F1. That one Abu Dhabi. Tapi UAE lah, okay lah. Okay, so any other thing you listen about Dubai? Tallest, okay, tallest building, okay. Ada? Huh? Tak lah. Okay, when you talk about Dubai, actually, what I can say about Dubai, they are building dreams and fantasies. Yeah, that's Dubai. Huh? From a desert, they transform the desert. From the place without water, they make a water. Yeah, that is Dubai. Yeah, they create wonders of the world. Yeah, so that is what we can say about Dubai. Yeah, so it is now you can find it. They're proud to have around 200 nationalities living together in one place. Yeah, 200 nationalities. You name it, you can find it over there. Yeah, so they are the regional trading hub. It's a very long story. Previously, if you are pretty much familiar with the market, you know that during the good old days, Beirut was I would say Paris of the Middle East. They were the trading hub for the region. But after the war, then Dubai took over that work hard to take that spot. They have efficient infrastructure. When you talk about efficient infrastructure, you talk about also in terms of government machineries, you talk about the good regulatory requirement. When you talk about good your efficient infrastructure, you have to compare what you have in the surrounding countries. You cannot compare with this America or something. In the region, they have the best and efficient infrastructure. Yeah. So lower import duties, no personal income tax. Yeah, no personal income tax. And when you talk about Mercer Middle East 2017 cost of living study, Dubai and Abu Dhabi the most expensive cities. Yeah, very expensive. Yeah. Okay, so World Economic WEF Global Confidence Report 2017-2018, they are on the 17th spot. Yeah, and from Mastercard Global Destination, it is the world's highest international overnight visitor spend. Why I'm putting this here? Because of it means that the country itself, I would say the economy, the vibrancy of the economy depending on the incoming visitors. Like last year, Dubai actually received 15.8 million. Dubai, yeah, we don't talk UAE. Dubai received 15.8 million tourists coming. Number one, India. Number two, yeah, 15.8. Yeah, India number one, UK, Saudi Arabia, China now. China last year more than 700,000 Chinese. Yeah, yes, Chinese tourists visiting Dubai. Yeah, so why I'm putting this into perspective, because you may not, I would say, for example, there are certain products that might not be suitable for this local population. Yeah, for example, you talk about durian. It's a no-no over there. You know, it's no-no now. It may happen later on, but there's a lot of investment needs to be done. Yeah, it means that to teach them about the smell. Yeah, but you know what I mean. The same thing about bird nest. You know, it's something that you need to, you know, during the early days when a company try to start promoting, you know, they start to, I would say, sampling of this bird nest coffee, that kind of things, you know. When you start, you give me the sample, then you ask about the ingredient whatsoever. Then when you start, this bird nest coming from where? From the bird saliva. Then they start, you know, that kind of things. Yes, you know. So these are things. But at the end of the day, when you have this kind of the number of visitors coming, this is the opportunities. You're not market for the local population. Then you are talking about, you know, the one that coming. Yeah. So these are what I'm trying to highlight. Then when you talk about halal, Dubai itself in 2013, they see the opportunities. They see about the opportunity in the Islamic economy. What happened in 2013? They established, I would say, a structured mechanism to really like spearhead the development of Islamic economy. Yeah, they established the IEDC, Dubai Islamic Economy Development Corporation, just to be a custodian of their efforts or their initiative to be a leaders in the Islamic economy. There are 7 pillars, and also under that, each of these pillars, there are initiatives in it. You talk about Islamic finance, you talk about halal industry, halal tourism, digital economy, fashion, modest fashion. Yeah, they talk about this the standard and legislation. What they're trying to do. Yeah, but the IEDC, Dubai Islamic Economy Development Corporation, is not the main or the entity that undertake all the initiative. It's not under them. They have, for each of these pillars, yeah, for this pillar, there are other responsible entity that have to move to progress the initiative. Yeah, the IDC is only the custodian. Yeah, what they're trying to do. Okay, when you talk about UAE, you can see that in this Thomson Reuters report, 2017 to 2018 on the state of global Islamic economy. Yeah, when you talk Malaysia, we still continue leading in the global Islamic economy indicator. You think about when you talk about halal food, you talk about Islamic finance, you talk about halal travel, we are number 1. We're still. But you see, closing behind, UAE is always there. Yeah, yeah, it's something that for us to see how we can progress much more in this. And when you talk about modest fashion, halal media and recreation, and halal pharmaceutical and cosmetic, UAE number 1. Yeah. At the end of the day, there's some synergy that we can look at when we analyze further this data. Okay. when you talk about nascent brands, when you talk about halal, it's always that synonym. When you then it's coming to the F&B, always, yeah. F&B will become, when you talk about halal, will be the forefront of halal, yeah. Although you have other sectors that also expanding into halal, yeah. These are all the names that already in the market. Mary Brown, Voshel, Tatawa, Huatai. When you see all of these, mostly concentrated in the confectionery, confectionery product. Yeah, but for us, will be we are continuing under the leadership of our Mr. Moderator. We've been participating. We've been bringing nascent companies to the market. Yeah, and expanding our presence in the market. One of the, I would say, the flagship event that we have in the market of the FMB is the Gulf Food Exhibition. Yeah, that always happen in February every year. Yeah, it is basically we Madrid, actually we spearhead the efforts to expand the export of our halal products to the market, where at that exhibition, on average, we've been bringing over more or less 80 nascent companies, more or less on average. Yeah, this is plus and minus, including in that exhibition. Normally, we bring companies under Mara, under Pharma, Ministry of Agriculture, Department of Forestry, Sabah, all this kind of thing, and they are bringing their own, I would say, entrepreneurs under their umbrella. This is what we've been trying to do, and it has been, I would say, one of the effective platform for us in expanding our export into the market. And when you talk about participating in exhibition, we are coming for business visit to the UAE or Dubai, you have to take into account that it is not only for Dubai or UAE market. Being an export hub, well recognized export hub, it is Dubai has been used as the place for the regional buyers to come over to Dubai and source their requirement. Yeah, sometimes from most of the time when we engage with the buyers, with our companies, they basically manage to close deal. Sometimes when they participate in Gulf Food whatsoever, they manage to close this deal first with countries other than Dubai or UAE first. Yeah, it means that when they come, they might be getting order first from for example, in some African countries or Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, rather than to get the first orders coming from Dubai. Yeah, and many of these companies, some of the big names actually, like they are using Dubai. Once they establish in the market, they are using Dubai as a place for them to meet the existing client that they have. This is the role of Dubai. Yeah, and we have to accept the fact that they offer that kind of I would say opportunity for faster expansion for our companies. Yeah. Okay, when you talk about this is from one of the regional consultancy research consulting firm, the F&B sector in GCC will continue to grow to reach 196 billion US dollar by 2021. Pretty much 31% of it will be, I would say, valued for UAE, and the largest would be Saudi Arabia. Yeah. Okay, and then you talk about the halal cosmetic. Yeah, halal cosmetic, you can see that the value for the total cosmetic market around 1.02 billion. This is another consultancy firm. Yes, and when you talk about this the share for the halal cosmetic, although small, but but it's a growing market. Yes? Okay? Okay? These are the challenges in the market. Yeah? I'll always say to companies that visiting Dubai, yeah, visiting the market, to come and participate in exhibition, to come and visit the market and have your own business meeting is very, very easy. Yeah? Because, why is it like that? Because now, at the end of the day, when you, I would say, travel all over from Malaysia, 7 hours of flight, 6.5 hours of flight, you already taken out yourself from your existing environment. Yeah? Which is that you're fully committed to the market, 100% of your energy to the your mind to I would say to undertake to I would say to meet the companies whatsoever. But at the end of the day, the most challenging part is actually when you go back to your own environment or whatever that your normal environment. Yeah, because the market requires you to spend a lot of time. It's not an easy. It is not impossible market, but it's not, I would say, a straightforward market. Sometimes, because at the end of the day, I have to stress that this is a relationship market. Yeah, you need more times. They need to develop, I would say, a comfortable level of confidence to do business with you. Yeah, so these are the market, and this one require a lot of your time. Yeah, a lot of your resources. Sometimes you have to come again to the market, and how long it takes depends. Yeah, and the last one would be your luck lah. Yeah, that kind of things. Yeah, and you have to understand that everybody knows that. Yeah, that it is a market where high GDP per capita. It means that not only us coming to the market and look into opportunities, other people are doing the same. Yeah? That's why I say it's a fierce competition that requires positioning. Before you position, you need to understand the market. That's why it's very important for you to come visit the market regularly. Yeah, this is how the things that you need to do in order to success in the market. Yeah, then you have to understand the you have to understand the market well. Yeah, you need to understand, for example, in terms of packaging. In certain countries, they because of the size of the house too small, they cannot have big bottle, big thing, or everything a small size, cute, that kind of things. So you have to see the market. For example, in the Middle East, if you go to all these major retail outlets, all these snacks, yeah, all the selling in 24 or 12 or in a dozen or more bigger size. Because why? Because actually they live in a big family members in the household. That's why you have a bigger selling in the retail. You have to see that kind of in that perspective. Yeah. So you cannot apply the same. You have the same size in Malaysia, then you expect it's the same size over there. Yeah. These are the things. That's why I say you have to understand the market. You have to go and see, go to the retail. Talk a lot with some of the importers, the traders, so they will give you some insight. Yeah. Then,
Dah sampai Dubai dah.
ya ke? Okay, quickly. Okay, when you talk about relationship and follow up, and slow process, yeah, slow process, very very slow, and these are the things that we are also being over there. We are also struggle in terms of getting a complete picture, complete information. Yeah, so this is then finding suitable partners, local presence, very high setting up costs, and applicability of laws. When you talk applicability of laws, when something like that, you have the same clauses In Malaysia also you have the same thing, and also in Dubai, let's say UAE, you have the same laws. But at the end of the day, how they interpret, how they use the law, pretty much different. You have to know that well. Okay, last one, this is the situational trend, what you have currently. Now with the price of oil going up, with the introduction of new taxes, for example VAT and excise duty, we expect actually the government their fiscal actually improving. Then they have started reactive, because of that they have reactivate again some of the projects that are put on hold for the past several years. And with that we expect that things are picking up in the country. Then, but at the end of the day, on their part, for the public, especially for the middle class, for the population, especially the middle class, the expatriate population, they are facing a pressure of the rising costs. Yeah. Then, because why do that? Then you need, for example, you're doing certain product, let's say premium product, then you have to tweak a bit in order to, I would say, tap into that market. Yeah. Then, at the end of the day, the last but not least, the region is always, the geopolitical uncertainty is always there. Yeah, the current one, you talk about Yemen, you talk about Syria, you talk whatever the tussle between Saudi Arabia and Iran is always there. You have to take into account that consideration. Yeah. Okay, that's all. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, well done. I think that's from what we have seen and what we have been shared. I think there's a lot of things that you want to that for later. Okay, and we have two more speakers. So as promised just now, I'm going to take a break for 10 minutes cukup. 10 minutes cukup lah, ya. But with the promise lah, you come back. Tak balik pula. Nanti pergi beli tiket, pergi tiket nak pergi Dubai kan. Kan? So kalau kata apa ni, we have two more speakers, we have two more trade commissioners, you know. One is Kazakhstan. This is a unknown market for a lot of Malaysian, a lot of companies. And we're going to look at the halal, and with 70% of the population is Muslim. 70%, betul? Ke dah naik dah? 70%, okay. So 70% of the population is Muslim. I think there's a lot of potential in the market. It is an unknown market. It is an exotic market. Correct? Exotic, exotic. Bukan the other word, bukan. Okay. Exotic market. So I think that's why we're going to save that for later. Kan? Kalau tidak kan semua dah balik dah. So another market, Japanese market or Japan market. There's another market that is interesting for the halal, because there's a lot of development in that market as far as halal is concerned. So that one is going to be the last one. Jadi kalau kata bagi yang itu dulu dah tak ada dah, separuh dah hilang ni. Kan? So jadi yang itu kita bagi last. So that is after, let's say sekarang ni pukul apa? 4 suku 5 suku. 5 suku, okay, 5 suku. So katalah 5.25 boleh. So kopi semua dia kat luar, beli minum, rest kejap. Siapa yang dah bulu rumah dah naik tu boleh pergi toilet. Okay, so we come back at 5:35. Thank you. Okay. You are